Okay, so no anime episode today, unfortunate. So we're gonna do something different. We're still gonna get an analysis of the chapter, One Piece chapter 1007, but we're gonna talk about some theories based on what's happened in this chapter. Now, I just gotta say, if you have not read chapter 1007, please click off this video. We will be spoiling because it's a major spoiler. So people, if you haven't read it, please leave. If you have, subscribe, like the video, and let's continue because we will be talking about the 6 craziest theories and what people think is actually going on at the end of the chapter. So here we are, the first theory, Kanjuro's ink clone. Now for Kanjuro, there are a lot of people that were on different sides because some people thought Kanjuro was dead. Some people thought that he wasn't, obviously, but there was some holding out hope based on how Kanjuro died. It was off-screened, we didn't see a body, we didn't even really see the stab. Of course, we saw Kiku crying and a sword, but it reminded me of Pound where we didn't see an actual body, we just saw the action beforehand. And in this case, we saw the action after the fact, but again, no body. But the reason why people are saying it's Kanjuro's ink clone is based off the abilities we know about Kanjuro already. First off, Kanjuro can create sentient paintings that look very realistic. Of course, initially, we didn't think Kanjuro could actually draw, but Kanjuro created a crane that could fly away. That's how he flew to Onigashima. Then he created those headless swordsmen, or the headless samurai that fought against the scabbards. So Kanjuro's drawings are really good. They look very realistic and they're somewhat sentient, right? Now we didn't see them actually speak, so that's holding this theory back from being 100% the fact. But a lot of people feel like Kanjuro is making a clone and he's doing it to mess with the scabbards now. So there's motive there in regards to Kanjuro, right? That's why this makes the most sense, where the announcement let everyone know where the scabbards were. Kanjuro not being dead, he's taken this final opportunity to mess with the scabbards again, and maybe now he could take one of them out while they're off guard, thinking that Oden is alive. He knows everything about them, even though the dialogue in the chapter said, hey, you guys haven't aged a day, and also the drawing does not replicate Oden as we know him, and Kanjuro spent so much time with Oden, he wouldn't get something wrong like Oden's garb, right? Like he knows Oden's attire, so that's another thing that's holding it back. So, but right now it's a very popular one. 2, we have that the scabbards are actually hallucinating and they're probably dead, or the person they're seeing currently is Yamato. This isn't a great one in my opinion because Hyogoro is still alive and kicking, and Hyogoro, I think, was probably a character that a lot of people thought would die. I mean, I didn't think so because, you know, that's how Oda does things, but he didn't die. And you expect me to believe that Oda killed off every single scabbard and they're in heaven right now looking at Oden? No, that's not the case. And in regards to Yamato, it was stated that Yamato and Momonosuke, they're completely opposite directions in regards to where Sanji was supposed to go. So it was the treasure room or where Yamato and Momonosuke was. So there's no way Yamato got all the way over there. And we saw Yamato in a different scene with Momonosuke. So there's no way that's actually Yamato. So that was the second theory that I think, you know, people are throwing around a lot, but this one I think is very unlikely. The third one is a very popular one because of how much people like Blackbeard. And that's the fact that Katarina Devon is playing as Oden. People are using this one based on what happened with Moria, where Katarina Devon, she toyed with Moria as Absalom, right? Then surprise, surprise, it's actually Katarina Devon. Because her devil fruit, the nine-tailed fox, she can transform into anyone. So that's really interesting, right? Really intriguing. Katarina Devon here in Wano. That means Blackbeard is here in Wano and probably Shiryu of the Rain, right? Now, Shiryu's background, we have no idea exactly what's going on there. People are trying to tie Shiryu to King because King could possibly have been a warden of Impel Down at some point. And also Shiryu of the Rain reminds us of Wano. And people also are tying in the fact that Blackbeard knows Oden. And the last thing we heard from him is saying, if they don't want it, the world government, I'm going to go and take it, which could imply Kaido's devil fruit. And based on what CP0 said, was that random dialogue just to play into this scenario where he's going after Kaido's devil fruit. Now that's been a popular theory, but it playing out this way is kind of crazy. Now there's so many things that Oda would have to justify for Katarina Devon knowing all these things about the scabbards. And again, Blackbeard is the connection between Katarina Devon and Oden, but it's kind of a roundabout way for Katarina Devon to do things when the scabbards, at this point, they're out of the fight for the most part. Why would she do this? Now I would love this because this would make Wano just 10 times more interesting because Blackbeard is here, and where Blackbeard is, I think based on the story, the verses for Yonko Saga, Shanks would not be far behind. But this one, I think, is unlikely as well. Number 4, Toki grabbed Oden from the past and brought him to the future. Oden is actually alive. Not a fan of this one, right? Because it would ruin so many things, I think, in regards to Oden's story and why we love him. But also, I think it takes away some of the tension of Wano because now we have Oden, who is a, you know, top tier fighter, and he would aid the alliance a lot. Now, having Oden back, that would be a bolster for the Wano citizens. And of course, Oden seeing the dawn come to fruition would be great. However, I do not think this is the case. Now, why people are saying this is because of what Kawamatsu said, saying that, you know, he saw a familiar face, but he doesn't want to believe it because it seems like it's a dream. The silhouette that we saw is definitely either Hiyori or Toki, but he wouldn't say that about Hiyori, right? But if he's hallucinating enough, Hiyori looks just like Toki. But there is also the fact that Toki has that scar, that pronounced scar that Oda showed us, which gave us the idea and gave me the inkling that Toki will be back in the story at some point. But there's also the chapter 972, where there's a conversation between Oden and Toki. And this is when Oden was captured, and he told Toki to give the children the swords. He told Toki if he should die, that she should use her power. Then it was said, aren't you sad? It's a death sentence, right? Then Toki says, who said you were going to die? And of course, Toki's final words here is saying, look ahead, Oden, to 20 years in the future. The reason why I don't think this is the case is because of how much it would break in the story. If Toki brought Oden forward, who was that person that was in the boiling hot oil? Is it the old woman? But then Kaido said he killed her. Oda would have to explain so many things to justify Toki bringing Oden from the past. As much as Oda is trying to mislead us with these vague terms and things that they're saying, I do not think this is the case. Number 5, we have Tama's teapot. And personally, I thought this was a joke, but people are seriously considering this. But go back to chapter 911. When Luffy went to Hitetsu's home, that's where Tama was staying, and there's a teapot that's a tanuki. And in Japanese folklore, tanukis are shapeshifters. And we have the tanuki that's shape-shifting into a teapot. And people are saying this is just a tanuki, and Hitetsu is now joining the battle. I don't have anything to say here. If this is the case, then whomever said this first, they deserve all the credit. I don't know what to believe. I don't want to believe it. The panel is here, title of the chapter, it's all leading to this. I don't know. It seems like an Oda thing to do, but I just don't know, man. And number 6, the final one is Onimaru, and he's playing as Oden. Now, Onimaru, Ushimaru's former companion, he's a shape-shifting fox. Now, we don't know exactly how he's doing it, but he can shape-shift into human, and he's capable of speech. But the person that we saw was Yukimaru. Now, if Onimaru always had this ability, you would think it would have been explained that he can shape-shift into different people, but this is kind of an Oda thing to withhold this information to surprise us at the end to say, hey, he can transform into anyone he would like to. And then there's a panel floating around of Yukimaru, and the sword that he has looks exactly like Oden's sword that he has in the chapter, because those swords that Oden has, it's not Amino Habikiri and Enma, obviously. So people are saying more than likely Onimaru is playing as Oden. Now, the problem here is, why would Onimaru do this? Onimaru right now should be with Hiyori, so people are also saying that. But why would he come in and try to cosplay as Oden? Some may say it's a morale boost, but it's a really weird way to boost morale, because if I'm somebody, right, and the person that I looked up to, person that I served, died, and now all of a sudden you're coming, just walking in and say, hey, we haven't seen you in a while, I'd be taken aback. That's not a morale boost, that's a mind fuck. Right? So as likely as it is, we still have questions. There's some more theories floating around, like with Fukurokuju, and there's some ninjutsu technique, and that there's a lightning clone. We're not going to entertain those, but these are the most popular theories that I've seen so far in regards to chapter 1007. Guys, give me your thoughts. Out of these 6 theories, which one do you think is most likely what's going on right now? We have 2 weeks to speculate, and I know people are going to be going crazy, so I wanted to get this out to get you guys' thoughts, because that's what everyone's talking about. So give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate all you guys so much. Guys, I don't know, man. This was a crazy, crazy chapter, but like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost.